Hey everyone, yeah, I got about 14 minutes to go before I have to clock back in from lunch. I just ate a Hungry Man Selects TV dinner, so for lunch, so that's all I can really do on this day and probably tomorrow. But anyway, I want to talk about something that, you know, as much of a viewer and a fan of Linkara that I am, one thing that I don't know if he's ever really talked about is discontinuity. Now, for some of you that don't know what discontinuity means, let me give you the skinny. You see, discontinuity has to deal with something that has nothing to do with a current running continuity or story arc. In other words, it has no significance whatsoever. And this could happen with it, and this occurs in almost any kind of media, I should say. Whether it's comic books like Linkara reviews, movies and television shows like what Doug Walker Nostalgia Critic does, video games even deal with this, like with Angry Joe and Angry Video Game Nerd and what they review. You know, it deals with a lot of stuff. So it deals and associates with a lot of stuff. So why is discontinuity such a, I guess you could say, big deal? You know, well, not a big deal, but it's so important when it comes to any kind of media. Well, the reason it's so important is due to the fact that, like I said, it focuses on things that really don't have anything to do with what's going on. Let's say you're watching Ultimate Spider-Man, right? And they got this ongoing story arc going on, right? But it's doing this that they interrupted to put a Christmas episode on, or a New Year's episode on. And then you realize there's no, and then after you watch that, and then you go on, then after you see that, and then watch the rest of the show later on, you realize there's no reference to it or acknowledgement, and then it occurs to you, oh, it's not part of the continuity. And sometimes the animation can give that away. Sometimes animation, voice actors, the way things, you know, the way characters are designed and stylized, could really give it away. But sometimes discontinuity doesn't just have to deal with one-shot deals like Christmas holiday specials and whatnot. They also could deal with stuff that, well, originally is supposed to be part of continuity, but in fact becomes discontinuity. That's right. Sometimes when something is meant to be part of the continuity of another, if it ends up being bad, if not so bad, to the point that not just the fans and the viewers, but the people working on it as well feel it's just not good or it's garbage, they will basically remove it from continuity. Yeah. And like I said, this happens in all sorts of media. Star Trek, I believe, which was Deep Space Nine or Voyager, one of them, had the one episode that a lot of people felt, even those working on it, was just a piece of garbage. Basically, the premise of it is one of the main crew members basically breaks hyperspeed or whatever it's called, but as a result is slowly evolving or de-evolving into a lizard. So, long story short, he gets to the point that he has to escape, that he's being held prisoner, and he gets to the point, well, basically, long story short, he's held prisoner, examination, all that, see what's going on. He escapes. Mentally, he's losing it a little bit, because he starts thinking this is the best. Mentally, he's starting to lose it, thinking, hey, this is great, what's happening. And long story short, it gets to the point that he escapes, grabs the captain, the female captain this time of the crew, and takes her with him and goes into hyperspeed towards a swamp-like planet, where it's discovered that not only did this main character fully evolve or de-evolve into some kind of salamander creature, but because she was around him and obviously affected by him in the hyperspeed, the captain herself turned into a salamander-like creature, evolved, de-evolved, and they ended up mating and having children. I know, sounds crazy, right? Sounds crazy, but it's true. That was an episode of Star Trek, I think it was Voyager, I believe, and it was so bad to the point that not just to the fans to this day, but the crew, the people that worked on it and starred in it, even the person that wrote it, pretty much said it was a piece of garbage. And thus, even though it's in rotation doing repeats on television or what have you, even though it's in rotation and it's part of the Voyager DVD set and possible Blu-ray set, it's an example, it is a primary example of one episode of one part of continuity that's been discontinuity. In other words, this originally was supposed to be part of the continuity, but because it came off so bad, it looked ridiculous and all that, basically not just the fans and the viewers, but the people that worked on it, the person that wrote the script, the directors, the crew, everybody discontinuity'd it or removed it from continuity. In other words, they discontinuity'd it. So when you watch this episode, and a lot of you Star Trekkers fans out there, Star Trek fans out there, know what I'm talking about. When you watch this episode, you watch it with the fact that it's a one-time event. It's a one-time episode that has a disconnection, that's disconnected from the ongoing continuity, because after this episode aired and they did others following it, they never acknowledged it ever again. There was no references. Like I said, there was no references, no acknowledgments. There was no, the captain wanted to go back and check on the children, nothing like that. It was all basically forgotten. And like I said, it's one of those situations where the episode is in rotation. It's in rotation, it's part of the DVD set, but it's one of those episodes, one of those events, one of those situations, stories, if you will, that has been removed from continuity, has become, excuse me, hands up there a little bit, but has become discontinuity, discontinued, or discontinuity, basically. It's the same way with Disney's Bonkers. When Bonkers came out, there were several episodes that were part of the rotation. Witness to the Prosecution, New Partners on the Block, and Fall Apart Bomb Squad. What happened? Because of certain events, life-changing events, as we all know, Fall Apart Bomb Squad, New Partners on the Block, were all removed from rotation. In other words, from a continuity standpoint, they never existed. New Partners on the Block basically bridged the gap between the Lucky Bonker episodes and the Miranda Bonker episodes, basically telling the story of how Bonkers went from having Lucky as a partner to Miranda as a partner. Fall Apart Bomb Squad was removed due to sensitivity. In other words, because of what happened in Oklahoma City, and then what happened in 9/11, which really increased that tenfold, those episodes were removed. Witness to the Prosecution is an entirely different scenario because it's a good episode, but there was something obviously in it that caused Disney to remove it from rotation as well. In other words, and have it and will basically have it join New Partners and Fall Apart Bomb Squad in the discontinuity section. And even though it's part of the continuity of Bonkers, when basically the beginning, if you will, of the Miranda episodes for Bonkers, the Miranda continuity, which supposedly this episode is like the first one after New Partners to really, kick off the Miranda continuity of the series, it's nowhere to be found. In other words, it's been discontinuityed from the continuity. Basically it's been put into that section with New Partners and Fall Apart Bomb Squad. So a lot of things have happened. A lot of things have occurred. So a lot of things have happened, not just with Bonkers, not just with Star Trek, but a lot of other things. Heck, a lot of fans like Linkara cheered and were happy at the fact that Marvel had an event happening, even though there was some criticism and some ups and downs about it. Marvel had an event occur basically where the One More Day situation ceased to exist. In other words, One More Day never happened. Yeah. Marvel did a huge reboot, rebirth, whatever you want to call it, re-franchising of its titles. And basically, by doing so, removed and erased and discontinuityed certain events that became part of continuity, like One More Day. DC with Rebirth basically caused the New 52 to become discontinuity, but in a sense made it part of continuity. In other words, all the events of New 52 were discontinuited or discontinuityed as being part of the DC Comics Prime continuity, and just another alternate universe. Well, at the same time, they used Rebirth to reboot everything, and thus discontinuity, like I say, New 52, from being the Prime continuity and just an alternate continuity, and focusing on Rebirth being the continuity, if you catch my drift. Sounds confusing, but that's another prime example. Heck, even movies like the X-Men did this as well. Everybody complained at the fact that X-Men 3, The Last Stand, was the worst X-Men movie of all. And I'm not going to argue it wasn't good. I'm not going to say it wasn't good. It had its moments. It had its decent moments, but it was kind of a mixed bag. But now even Marvel and Fox realized, hey, people don't like what happened. Let's do this. Let's adapt Days of Future Past and erase Last Stand from existence, from continuity. And that's what they did. Basically, Days of Future Past, the movie version, the movie adaptation of Days of Future Past, erased Last Stand from continuity. In other words, it made it discontinuity from existence. So now Last Stand is just a one-shot X-Men film that has nothing to do with the X-Men continuity that you see in theaters. I know, it sounds kind of strange, but it's a fact. But those are just prime examples of what a discontinuity is, and what discontinuity is in all of media, in any medium, any media out there. It basically, discontinuity, the job of discontinuity is to remove something from a current continuity and thus make it cease to exist, or just turn it into something that's one shot and not to be associated with the current continuity. So that's really what it is. That's really what discontinuity is about. So that's just my take on it. Linkara, I hope you watch this, you retweet this. I did this because I like what you do with your series. Thank you for a great 2016. Hope 2017 is even better for you. And that's all I'm going to say, folks. Let me know what you think down below. Linkara, let me know what you think as well. I really appreciate it. And Happy New Year, folks.